are some intangibles that those projections failed to take into consideration.
The crowd was going crazy. There's not much in life that's better than that.
You're listening to Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys on the 95.7 The Game Podcast Network.
Hello there. Welcome to the Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys podcast. Sam Lubman here with Joe Shasky for episode 59. 59, Shasky. That is how many times I buried my face in my hands on Saturday watching the Giants get almost no hit by Kyle Hendricks. Luckily, thank you, Mitch Haniger, for making sure that I did not get to see my first ever no-hitter in person. I don't want that to happen again. I'd rather my first no-hitter in person to be against be any other team being no-hit, not the Giants. 59 is also the John Brebbia episode. Brebbia started 2 games this weekend, and I'm going to start with John Brebbia because they've been using him as the opener. I know there's a lot of negative connotations kind of surrounding the opener, but I'm kind of curious, Shasky, when you see him kind of go out and taking them out, is he kind of making you a believer of just how the Giants are using the opener this year?
There is a negative connotation to the opener. There's no doubt about it. And I think it's because of a variety of reasons. It goes against the grain from what most people grew up with. But number 2, how many times have we seen the A's trot out the opener and lose in a wild card game?
Yeah, they did the one time against the Yankees, and I feel like that they had a chance to kind of take it mainstream, and it backfired spectacularly.
Absolutely. And so it does have a negative connotation, but the one time that it did work was Game 5 against the Giants, Dodgers-Giants. Instead of starting Urias, they started an opener and then brought Urias in out of the bullpen, I believe after 2 innings, something like that. So It's unconventional, so it goes against the grain. There's no doubt about it. But then, I look at Brebbia just in his body of work. I like how they're using him right now. I mean, he's an arm that you want to try to get in there every single day and to slot things the way that they want it and to get the other team to substitute in the middle innings and burn guys. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and I do think that the fact that it's worked sort of as well as it has, I think kind of helps. We had Dave Fleming on last week on the Morning Roast. He kind of mentioned how, again, not the sexiest idea to go with an opener, but the fact that it's working, I think makes it easier to digest. Really quick, Shasky, I mean, there's 7 times they've gone to Brebbia in the opener. The Giants are 4-3 in those games, which is good. You want to be above 500 whenever you can. In those 7 games, there's the pitchers in those games have a 3.29 combined ERA across those 7 games. To put that in comparison, or to put that into context, that's Shane Bieber's ERA this year. So, they're holding hitters in opener games. They're holding hitters to a 220 batting average against, which again, context, that's what Garrett Cole is holding hitters this year. So not a perfect comparison, but you can basically say that they're pitching like Shane Bieber and stifling hitters like they're Garrett Cole in those games when they use the opener. Now, part of it is, of course, who they trot out, how they do so. I thought the way the Giants usually do it, Brebbia goes 1 or 2 innings, and then having Sean Manaea, he's been kind of coming in and handling the bulk work depending on the lineup construction. Manaea has really been thriving as the bulk guy too, and I'm kind of curious what you've been seeing from him lately, because part of the reason why the opener works for the Giants is not just because of John Brebbia, it's because of Sean Manaea as well.
Yeah. It feels like they're getting the best out of Sean Manaea. The 2-year deal, quite honestly, just doesn't look good to me. I mean, 2 years, 25 million, not the greatest value in the world. But if you're going to salvage the deal, it feels like this is kind of working, you know, and I can't really argue with the results. So, when he gets that fastball over for a strike and then he's able to work off that and have all of his other pitches going, especially the breaking stuff, he is a nice pitcher. I see what they see. Problem is, he's just inconsistent in finding the strike zone. And then the ball finds too much of the bat.
Yeah. I'd be kind of curious to see the way he's been pitching lately. Shasky, he's 6 times he's come out of the bullpen in a bulk role. Hitters are hitting 183 off of him in that time. He has completely turned his performance around. And what's great is, you talk to him, he's keeping a very much the same approach to it. There's certain things that he'll change because, obviously he's not starting. He's coming out of the bullpen. So he knows that it's a different level of readiness. But I'm kind of curious, obviously the Giants need guys in the starting rotation. There's 3 guys they can count on right now between, Wood, Webb, Cobb, and DeSclafani. Alex Wood's going to be coming back soon, obviously. But they still need a 4th starter and a 5th starter, just a 5th starter when Wood comes back. Can Sean Manaea, maybe it's a time to maybe put him back in the rotation, or do you just kind of keep status quo because it's working right now.
Yeah, I think you roll with what's been working personally. I think you put him back into that slot, expectations become different. I think it resets how he's been, getting ready for a lot of these games. Whatever's working, don't break it. You know what I mean? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I think they should just keep rolling with what they're doing. I think you're getting the best out of multiple guys in this scenario, Brebbia and Minaya.
Exactly. So speaking of things that are working pretty well right now, let's talk about the Giants lineup, which is got fully healthy this week for the first time all season long. And I feel like this week we saw kind of the highs and lows of what this lineup is capable of. The highs kind of literally when they went to Coors Field. And yeah, you saw they tattooed the Rockies. They continued their dominance at Coors Field. I think they've won 8 straight now at Coors Field, which is a really weird thing to say, first off. But Shasky, when you look at this lineup, when it's fully put together, how excited does it make you? And just how far do you think this lineup could really carry the Giants this year?
Well, I think when they're whole and healthy, they look to be pretty formidable. They have a lot of difficult outs. I know Estrada's a free swinger. Casey Schmidt can be a free swinger. But when you have Lamont Wade Jr. doing what he's doing at the top of the lineup, it's pretty impressive. And then you mix in a really nice week from Jock Peterson, some clutch at-bats from Brandon Crawford. It looks like top to bottom, this order just has a lot of tough outs right now. And also multiplicity of bat types and bat styles, righties, lefties, obviously patient, aggressive. There's a good mix of guys in here. And so I think from a pitcher standpoint, you really have to do your homework as each different guy steps into the lineup, steps into the batter's box, excuse me.
Yeah, and I think that's always kind of something the Giants have always kind of gone for. And that's why, we get frustrated with the platoons, but the platoons do serve a purpose in that, when they have that line change late in the games, they bring guys in, it becomes a matchup nightmare for opposing teams. And that's why, in 2021, this team was so good at kind of getting those comeback wins, in part because they switch guys out late and were able to take advantage of matchups. Well, now, you saw it this week where they got 2 comeback wins in Colorado with a healthy lineup. I don't think it's a coincidence that when you have a healthy lineup, you suddenly start seeing them kind of come back in games late.
Well, and I thought that they pulled the trigger on specific situational pinch hits that came through for them. Austin Slater was a pinch hitter, and delivered for them. Wilmer Flores delivered as a pinch hitter in Colorado. So that's getting back to that 2021 magic. You know what I mean? Like when you pull the right guy at the right time against the right pitcher, I mean, it seems like their algorithms are working when it comes to that. And so it's nice when you have a full complement of players and there aren't a lot of injuries because you can use those guys off the bench in the way that you envisioned before the season started.
Exactly. And again, pinch hitting is a big part of the Giants' identity, really, ever since this current regime, took over.
Well, and
Giants-
Sam, what about small ball? I mean, Patrick Bailey dropping down a bunt the other day. When was the last time the Giants?
Yeah.
When was the last time they did that?
Earlier in May, they had another suicide squeeze. Apparently, Patrick Bailey's a great bunter. Well, so that's great to know because it's a great little tool to have.
Great skill.
Small little ways to nickel and dime runs together like this. I mean, the Giants, they have 12 pinch hits already this year, 4th in Major League Baseball. 54 pinch hit appearances is 5th. That's always been their identity. Last year, they led the league in pinch hits with 49. Their 5 home runs were 2nd in the league. Their 29 pinch hit RBIs led baseball. This is last year. And then, of course, we all know how good they were with pinch hitting in 2021. They had, 69 pinch hits, 2nd most in baseball. And then, of course, the 18 home runs, which was a franchise record. When they have their full toolbox available, Giants could do a lot of great things, with their bats. There's a lot of options and flexibility they can go with. One last thing, I'll turn back to you, Shasky. Another thing that they're really good at doing, this team, they're really good at avoiding double plays.
Yes.
So they have 482 double play chances, which is defined as 1st and 2nd with less than 2 outs. And they've hit into a double play 36 times, which is 7.5%. That's 3rd best in baseball. When you have a lineup that doesn't kill rallies with a double play, I mean, doesn't really need to be said, but sets your lineup up very well to score more runs.
And the 2 guys we didn't reference who I thought had really clutch at bats at multiple points this week, Blake Sable has been really good for the Giants. I mean, kind of out of nowhere as a hitter. I mean, defensively, not great. And then Michael Conforto has had a couple of big 2-out knocks this week. And I just think that Conforto kind of flies under the radar and he seems to always put together good at bats.
Yeah. I mean, the power he was really showing in May, it's kind of come back down a little bit, but if he can get that going again, and he's become like, you look at Michael Conforto, you don't think of him as a typical 4 hitter, but he's handling that spot well. I'm totally cool with keeping him in that spot. And then, Blake Sable, the glove is tough. I don't know what position he's going to be playing.
He's not a position.
Yeah, outfield. Maybe he's a better DH candidate.
Yes.
In terms of like what do you want to have this team fix right now? Maybe if there's a way you get him into a full-time DH role, but then you got to figure out what you do with Jock Peterson and Wilmer Flores. Maybe those become, trade chips. I know the Giants are good now, so we all want to trade everybody, but that's going to be a kind of a thing that the Giants are going to have to really kind of figure out over this next month in terms of just, what do you do with Blake Sabol to kind of keep his bat consistently in the lineup without really giving up too much on defense?